Not sending me the messages, sending the messages directly through his business. He blocked me. He blocked me when I told him to hook me up with one of his friends. I was trying to be funny and told him to hook me up with one of his friends. So then he blocked me, and then he's been communicating with other people through other people. He's brilliant. So I got the message from someone else at 10:42 a.m. And then I get all kind of prank calls from people that say that he told them to call him. And sending those death threats and having people call and prank me, that's a crime. That's harassment. And sending death threats, that's terroristic threats. That's criminal as well, that the police department cover for.
The only thing you can do is just ignore them. Because that's not something you can block. You can't keep blocking every single person, you know. I mean, technically you could, but
I'm just not confused at why for all these years nobody seems to want the abuser to get accountability in all my environments, including my family. So they say that it's impossible for someone to manipulate all my environments, but my sister uploaded a video saying that she wanted to apologize to people that I've violated by trying to flee for abuse, especially the person that, my abuser, basically. So I just find it highly bizarre that so many parties, including the police department, would try to cover for this man's crimes.
Well, this is what I do, okay? Because I am flooded daily with spam calls. And,
well, why did you tell me that I needed to call the police at the beginning when you saw the death threat?
Say what?
Remember when I showed you the death threat and the other stuff and you said that I need to call the police?
Right. I agree with that.
Okay, so why do you think now that the police shouldn't help?
Because if they weren't willing or able, excuse me, to do something about that, that message that you had gotten, that was horrible. Then you have to take steps yourself to protect yourself. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? The church member that I'm telling you that they are aware, and then they said that it was horrible too, that offered me the pads. And then I'm telling them about the death threats and how I've been treated at Midcoast and the police department. And then they wanted to pray over me, saying, pray over paranoia. And then I'm saying, if you just saw the death threats and said that was horrible one day, and someone's threatening to take my life, and instead of you praying that law enforcement gets held accountable, you're praying over me being paranoid and schizophrenia. What in the world does that have to do with you just said that it was horrible, the email that you just saw I got? How in the world?
It doesn't take away from that email being horrible.
No, I've gotten worse emails than that. But I'm just confused on how a church could see the email and then say it's horrible in one breath and then want to pray over paranoia when I'm getting death threats and denied law enforcement and then offer me pads.
There's nothing I can do.
Don't you think that's peculiar? Because you're right, that was horrible. And another church member said that was horrible. But if they saw it was horrible, why are they praying on paranoia?
I don't know.
Don't you think that's peculiar?
Over other people.
Don't you think that's weird? You're right, the death threat was horrible. They saw the death threats and indeed said it was horrible. April said she is telling the truth. She is telling the truth. I have witnessed it. Then in another breath, they are praying for paranoia. I'm saying that I need prayer because I'm being violated all over the place. Then they said, please help because the police this, but police that, I'm getting death threats. The Lord, please help her with her paranoia. I said the devil is a lie in front of the whole group. How is it paranoid if you witnessed a death threat and then said it was horrible? April is telling you that her phone is hacked and mine, and everything that I'm saying is true. I'm asking for prayer, and you're saying, Lord, please help her with her paranoia. And in front of all of them, I said, the devil is a lie. You've seen it. What are you talking about? Then they try to clean it up and then behave bizarre, but I keep experiencing this pattern over and over again. You're right, it was horrible. The church did indeed say it was horrible. Then they switched up. Then they don't want me talking about it. Play for paranoia and talk about schizophrenic people all the time and behave odd too. And my life is just pretty peculiar. I can't put my finger on what's happening. But you just got to prove it. But I'm sorry, go ahead. You're right, it was horrible. Go ahead, what were you saying?
Okay. There isn't anything that you can do to control other people's actions. Okay? You can't. You've been to the police over and over and over again. You're not getting anywhere with the police. So don't even go down that road. Again, I wouldn't. Okay? What I would do is take steps to protect yourself. Okay? Like I said, even though you think it's futile, humor me, please. Block his phone number on your phone.
What phone number? What phone number?
On your email. Just do that.
What phone number am I blocking?
I don't know what his phone number is.
I'm not getting, this army's full of people say this, but he's not calling me. He's
having other people. So what?
Yeah,
he's calling. You're getting a call from someone, you don't know who it is.
That's not what I'm reporting all this time and all these, all these different environments. That's not what I'm reporting to you. I'm reporting to you that the Bible app glitched. April told you and that her devices were hacked, and a acquaintance of hers that's had pictures, took pictures of us without her knowledge, and then she said when she sent me this very same pictures, her device got hacked. So then all the people around me devices are hacked. There's no number to block because that's not what I'm reporting to you. But I repeatedly get the same thing. Another person at church said, block him, when I told her I was fleeing for my life. And I'm like, who is telling you that I block him from what? If the police keep taking my freedom and then all these people around me are being hacked and I'm being violated and harassed, can't see my kids, why is everyone's solution is to block him with my phone? How do you block someone from sending you death threats or from sending you taking your freedom, children, hacking all your friends' devices and controlling people in your environment? How do you block that?
That, I don't remember if it was a text or an email that you had shown me where it had the death threats.
But that's not what I'm reporting to you. I'm reporting that all my devices are hacked and I call the police. And you're telling me to block a number, and that's not what I'm reporting. I'm reporting that the people around me are being hacked. And then you're telling me to block a number like Army's full of other parties. Like when they saw April told them that we were being hacked, I was being hacked, and I told them about the threats. And then they offered pads and all of this and behaved bizarre. And I told them I was potentially leaving the country because not enough people were concerned about my life and took it seriously. So then they offered the pads, said that they have an organization, that they worked at this organization and they have pads. I felt that was, disrespectful and condescending, especially coming from church people. And I'm not quite sure how you can misconstrue and then think that if someone is saying that someone is threatening to take my life and hacking all my friends' devices, and then I'm threatening a false arrest and I repeatedly get violated, how would all that knowledge, Lord, please help her with her paranoia? And you've seen it for yourself. How, if I'm begging for my life, do you say, Lord, please help her with her paranoia? But I get it because another church drug me out of it and body slammed me on concrete. So at least they didn't do that. They just covered for it. But who wants to go to a church that behaves like this? let someone that's sending you death threats potentially control them. I'm not saying you said that it's not possible for him to do it. I know that it don't sound realistic, but I just can't understand why someone, if I'm telling you my life is in jeopardy, you've seen it and said that it was horrible. Then you, in another breath, you're paranoid and schizophrenia in sermons. But
Okay,
not a
you are
praying.
not.
They should be trying to pray that I get law enforcement, but no, they're praying for schizophrenia and paranoia when they witnessed the death threats. And someone, April, told them, no, it's true. She is getting violated. I saw it. Then she was talking like that until she got freaked out by the police. Then she starting arguments like another friend.
I'm sorry. I can just picture April, the police telling her, well, we're running your background.
Yeah.
And she just probably acted like a cat with its tail on fire.
She did. Can I leave? Can I leave? That she said it immediately. Can I leave? She did. She got out of there as quick as like no tomorrow. But nonetheless, he appeared to be running our information and didn't run the guy's information I was reporting.
But they do that. Excuse me. They don't just do that with you guys. They do that with everybody. When you report a crime, they want to know who you are, who's reporting this crime. And they will run your information.
Well, I thought when he got on his dispatch, I thought that he was getting a report number, but that he wouldn't give me the report until I started an argument with him. Well, I wouldn't say an argument, but I debate. I was holding him accountable for not giving me a report number, and I told him I thought he was compromised. Because why, if I'm reporting death threats showing you have an eyewitness testimony, why would you deny law enforcement? So then after I made this big commotion, he gave me a report number. They refused to investigate it and demanded to speak to Jill privately, who would not see me for therapy again. She said that she would advocate for me, and then we could try to get him on tax evasion. Tax evasion is what they did to gangsters when they weren't able to pin a crime on them. They got them for something minimal like tax evasion so they can pin a charge on them. People that were real powerful and difficult to get. Then after that, she wouldn't talk to me, ducked and dodged me. We were supposed to be visiting every week. Not only did she deny, I was going through a lot of stress with this false charge on dismissed charges coming up again. So 3 other parties canceled on appointments and would not reschedule and were psychologically abusive. And people that were really nice to me prior. So it was like they were scheming to deprive me of assistance. So he demanded to speak with Jill alone. I said, I don't feel comfortable with you speaking with her alone about me. That's ridiculous. He demanded to speak with her anyway. They spoke 20 minutes and Jill never did a follow-up with any of this. And then whenever I tried to talk to her, she walked off while I was talking. Isabel said Jill was gone because I was trying to get a resolution on why Jill treated me like that, what happened with the officer, why she was depriving me of therapy. Then Isabel said Jill's not here today. She looked like she was lying. Nonetheless, Jill walked by and she got caught openly in a lie. I didn't even want to argue with her. Then she's a victim's advocate. She gave me things for adult daycares or adult day centers and food pantries to flee abuse. That's been a pattern for me. Would not give me any information. Yes.
Why would she give you information about adult daycare? That's for mentally challenged people.
I don't know why. I think it was a mind game and she was being disrespectful.
No, that's not her. She doesn't have time for that. She just doesn't do that to people.
I'm not quite certain on if I'm telling you I probably have the paperwork now. I'm just not quite certain on why would they think of a strategy and lie and say that she gave me information on adult daycares and pantries to flee abuse. It's been a pattern that followed me years. I'm not quite sure what interest I would have in lying on her and saying that. No,
I'm thinking that maybe the term is incorrect.
No, it was adult daycare center for elderly. I probably still have the paperwork. And I asked her why she would disrespect me and give me something for an elderly person, an adult daycare, to flee abuse. She gave me no direction. They have a legal aid there that pretended like she didn't have any knowledge, period, on the legal system. But I'm not quite certain on what she, and referred me to Rio Grande Legal. If you're a legal aid there, what is your reasoning to just tell me to go to Rio Grande Legal?
That's what it's called here.
I'm just not, if she's a legal advocate, the only thing that she did, period, was to tell me to go another place. Why then the staff could have told me to go another place? Why would I set appointments with her to get nowhere?
Okay, I told you before that you would have to go to legal aid.
I'm just not quite certain on her job description, why she has a whole position as a legal advocate to tell me to go to Rio Grande Legal. That's peculiar to me. She didn't give me information on protection orders. There's some kind of mysterious way you can get a name change that she wouldn't give me feedback on. Jackie blatantly lied about housing. She got housing from my roommate, right?
Yeah, well, she didn't help me get housing or anything.
But if she got housing from my roommate, and then she lied and said she couldn't get it for me, a lot of people in my circle are saying that they didn't offer housing. But they do, because they're getting it for people that outside of the people in my circle. So if my roommate got housing and have moved into her own place, and then other parties, when I'm gone, have got into their own place, I just find it peculiar that other people are getting housing, but the people in my circle aren't.
Okay, well, I know that I haven't applied Mid-Coast for any kind of assistance.
Okay, well, I did ask for assistance. They have apartments, and I did a request. That's probably why you haven't got any. And I've heard through third parties that they do offer it. They just didn't offer it to me. And that's probably why you didn't get any, because you didn't apply.
Yeah, I didn't apply for anything. So much. And I can tell you this. If you, and I'll be happy to take you, all right, when I'm moved out there. To get
Gulf Bend is denied help too. Gulf Bend is denied help.
Gulf Bend should not be denying you help.
They did.
All right.
They did.
On the basis of what?
They said that I'm on a waiting list, and then they said they don't have therapy.
They do have therapy.
I know. That's how I'm treated.
Okay. So I will go with you. All right. I got Norma, my son, for his intake.
Okay, so they got therapy from there?
They have, yes. They got counseling, and not only do you get counseling, but they have a resource person there. And the resource person is who helps you apply for, like, Medicaid, or if you need any kind of housing assistance.
I appreciate that. I appreciate, you wanting to take me to get therapy and the mental health treatment. And, I may take you up on that offer. But no, it's fruitless, because they're denying me treatment. They're denying me, violating my rights and denying me assistance. But I'm just not quite certain on why. They have already done it. I'm telling you, I just talked to them a couple days ago. This has happened years. I'm just really not being heard. That's why I want to leave this country. I don't think people are really understanding what I go through. This has happened years. Multiple different locations do this, and they've been getting away with it years. I'm violated almost every avenue I seek help from. Even friendships I derive become unusual, and they start covering for abuse, and they're trying to gaslight me and play mind games when I'm reporting a massive amount of abuse and criminal activity. I'm not quite certain why all my environments it's like people are trying to help frame me. Because if someone is stating I'm getting violated, including family members, why is everyone's suggestion to get mental health treatment for 10 years? And I did, but it's being denied. I just find that I don't think that that's a typical request. If someone is saying I'm fleeing a domestic violence crisis that's serious, have false arrest, I just don't understand why people are offering pads and mental health treatment.
I don't know why they were offering you pads. I don't know what other people were thinking or what that conversation was at that time to be so misconstrued.
I said that I'm thinking about leaving this country. A lot of people aren't in, I don't feel that I'm being treated properly. I've been getting death threats and I'm afraid for my life. I get harassed. There's crimes to keep me away from my family and I'm just not really getting assistance. She tells me I worked at this organization. I'm at the end of my seat. You did? Yeah, I worked at this organization and I know what they do. Oh, great. And I can get you some pads. And I'm really? So I just ignored it.
That doesn't even make any sense.
That's how I've been treated. That's why I'm trying to communicate it with you. Then if I'm telling you you've seen death threats and you're looking at it in disgust saying it's horrible, April has said what she's saying is true. I witnessed it. All of it's true. So witnessing the police cover for death threats, her communicating her phone attack and mine and people around us.
You've been through a lot of trauma.
Right, but I'm just saying that I just don't understand why for 10 years that and I appreciate it, but they're denying me assistance. I just don't understand why that's the solution for so many people. No direction on civil rights attorneys, no direction on, people that have integrity that can do something or give me direction on how to combat corrupt police, just get mental health treatment.
And it's up to you whether or not you want to do these things.
I've tried to tell you already that I've sought out. I just thought that was unusual for someone fleeing abuse that's serious for people to recommend pads and mental health treatment.
Okay. Well, you did not have an assessment done at Gulf Bend.
I did.
You did.
Right. When I was in jail on the false charges, they demanded that I get mental health treatment when they made dismissed charges again. So they demanded that I go to Gulf Bend so they wouldn't get their felonies. For releasing me from jail on false charges, then taking bribes to make dismissed charges again when my abuser was mad. They didn't want anything to do with felonies, so they demanded that I get mental health treatment to not get charges for their actions. So they demanded that I go to Gulf Bend as an alibi to why they were mistreating me. So I went to Gulf Bend. Gulf Bend denied mental health treatment, saying that they were full. But they've been getting away with this years. And they put me on a waiting list because they were full and didn't want to get a felony for denying me treatment. Then they con after that they can't give anyone counseling after I waited, that they don't offer it. Then lied about what case management does and then started an argument to hung up in my face. Well, started an argument and hung up without giving me the proper direction. So I just have been communicating things. I know that my story's not realistic and you have to prove it, but I just don't understand, how you're at church and then you're telling people you're afraid for your life. Can you please help? And they say, come pitch a tent and live outside on our property. But you can't talk about your abuse to stay here. How are you telling church people and they see texts and then people are saying, yeah, this is true what she's saying. And then that, please pray, I fear my safety. Lord, we want you to help her with her paranoia. And then I call them out on it and say the devil is a lie. What I'm telling you've already seen it. I just can't put my finger on it, but it's just peculiar. I don't think that if a woman was trying to flee abuse, I would recommend her to get mental health treatment and, ask her to get if she needed pads.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be asking you if you needed pads. I am just saying that you've been through a lot of trauma. You've spent your whole day being so upset by all of this. I have to go through therapy, all right, because of the trauma that I went through. I can only imagine your abuse has continued for years. And I understand that you want justice, you want blocking. I don't want to block him for whatever my reasons is. I don't want to block him. I really don't understand. Just simply block him, and see what happens.
I can't block. All my environments are recommending something that's impossible. If he's not calling me, how do I block him? If he's having multiple different people to not be held accountable, sending me death threats, And multiple
Then
by multiple different people, you can't block. If he's having people prank
right.
call me on new numbers
Okay.
and old numbers,
I,
how do you block that?
I
Multiple
get
different
that.
people.
Just don't answer the
If he's
phone.
having paying the police
And if
department, if he's paying the police department and churches to be in cahoots and deprive me of assistance, and then controlling
but
multiple
there
different friendships, knowing that no one will believe my story, how do I block that? If he's controlling my
churches and
family and having my family set me
he's
up,
not.
I'm sorry?
Churches, churches and police departments are not in cahoots against you.
Well, can you explain
Okay.
to me why I was at the Inspiring Body of Christ Church, a church that I was a member of decades? Did my pastor keep on ducking and dodging me when I told him I was afraid for my life? Then I stood up and did a testimony and said, "I'm afraid. Please help me. Can you guys help me?" Someone rushed to me, rushed me out of the church. I fell because they did it so quickly. When I was begging for my life, I fell. They started dragging me out the church. My legs getting carpet burns, dangling on the ground. Then body slammed me on concrete. Can you explain to me why I was in Austin, the charge that I was just in jail for? In Austin, trying to report death threats and actually arrested at jail. I mean,
You were
arrested at
arrested
church.
for what?
They arrested me for trying to report death threats. They said it was a false report. The officer stole my phone and my perfume. So it is. Can you explain to me why I was at the Oakcliff Bible Fellowship, Tony Evans Church, thinking that if I got, I would be safe there, and the someone said that I was in, I would get a criminal trespass for trying to flee abuse there. Then my phone cover for it stopped recording, and then I was removed by the police. I was at another church that played mind games and took my picture and then said that they needed to help. They needed to take my picture to help me. Then I came back to get clarity on why they wouldn't help, and then they called the police on me for wanting help to get flee abuse. Another church. So I know that it's extraordinary to say that a church is in cahoots, but I went to Oakcliff Bible Fellowship again and then asked for help with domestic abuse, and the department was called on me again. I asked for help at Arborlawn Church. They wouldn't help me. And then when I recorded police monitoring the church and guarding the church and following me around the church, the pastor finally said, "Can I talk to you?" And I'm happy thinking he's finally going to help me because he forgot for 2 months. Pastor Chris at Arborlawn. Pastor Chris, the police department comes around the corner. And then he says, "The pastor has a message for you." And then the message was, "Don't record at church." What are they doing wrong at church where they're terrified that I'm recording it?
Right.
Nonetheless, the police department said don't record. The police department guarding the church, following me around the church, antagonizing me and taunting me at
Oh, I
church.
know why. Probably because um, you cannot be recording people,
I only did it one
especially
time. I think that they were trying to hide the
children.
fact that the police department was violating me. I only recorded the police one time there. It wasn't that I was going around recording members and doing all that. I recorded the police, how it was normal for the police department to be guarding a church with badges and guns. They were guarding the church to make sure they didn't help me. But you can't just get paid, be on someone's payroll to enforce your abuse on that party. They didn't want it recorded, the amount of power that they were abusing, and they enticed that pastor to take the blame for their crime. Not only did that church Beautiful Feet did it. I was trying to ask for help to flee abuse. They staged conflict. The police came, pushed and shoved me and forced me to leave, trying to get help to flee abuse, and told me not to come back. Only thing I did was ask for help. I cried to these people, told them I was afraid for my life. The police department was terrorizing me. I was being railroaded. They told me that they weren't going to help me. I can get on the phone and call myself. I got on the phone, and when the person that I called was behaving oddly, when she got backed in the corner for her behavior, the police department came. They scammed that I was being rude, and I wasn't even talking to them. It was a blatant lie. Police department said you need to leave, but they put people up to blatantly lie on me. Said you need to leave Beautiful Feet in Fort Worth, pushed and shoved me, and made me leave. And I had just cried and told them I was afraid. So I know that it's incredible to say that all these people are in cahoots, but I've never, then it happened multiple other times before. Until I became targeted, I've never seen police with badges and guns at a church service. Typically, if the police department is there, because it's intimidating when you're at a church service for people to be there with badges and guns. That's like a little
Well,
disrespectful. So typically what they do, like Joel Osteen's church, big churches, they have someone plain clothes. But since I've been targeted, police are at these environments enforcing that they don't give me help. Before I started doing something, it wasn't up for debate. I saw the police at small churches. I've been going to church. I'm not stupid. I've been going to church a long time. Why is the police department repeatedly at these churches with badges and guns and church members are behaving peculiar? So it was this real small church, and I was scared to get dressed and put on makeup, so I went ahead. It was a holiday, so I got dressed and put on makeup. So at this small church, it was a police met me outside. Okay, at this church. So then, nonetheless, when the police was outside, so I left. I was the first one at church. I left and came back to the church, and it was a police officer in the church. So the church members tried to lie and say that the police department was there because someone invited the police that wasn't there, but they were acting weird. Okay, so I know how my life is. So I'm furious that the police officer is now in the church. He was out in the parking lot trying to intimidate me and bully me in the parking lot. It was just me and the police alone. So I left it. I couldn't report the insanity I experienced to anyone. So I left the church, came back, gave all the insanity time to die down, came back. And then the odd thing about it, the police vehicle was hid because I would not have got out the car with the police there. So some kind of way the police vehicle was hid, and there's someone with a badge and gun at church, disrespecting the church service because the badge and gun is going off. I mean, the dispatch, his radio is going off, interrupting the service. So the church lies and says that someone invited this police to the church. Problem number one, if you're at work, you can't be at church. You can't decide even if someone invited you to to attend a church service when you're at work.
That's a lie. All right. There was probably an incident or a threat made there at that church. And,
so he stayed 5 minutes for the intimidation. He stayed 5 minutes for the intimidation and then left. Number two, if he came because someone invited him to the church, why would he stay 5 minutes distracting with his radio going off? At least don't disrespect the church service. Cut your radio off.
Well, right. I understand that, but I mean,
I'm communicating that with you because you said that you don't believe that these people can be in cahoots. It's really not making a lot of sense at all these different churches. It is absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense that they would all be there because of you. Okay? They could have been called because of.
Why would the church lie? Why would the church lie? That's a red flag, even though it doesn't make sense that someone would allow the person to abuse this much power.
To not alarm.
Well, why would you think that in multiple different churches I was put out for begging for my life if it's not about me?
No.
Have you ever heard of a woman begging for her life and getting drug out of a church begging for her life, one that she's attended decades, and then given a criminal trespass so she can't go back to people that she's built relationships with, that she's known for decades, that attend the church? Why would the church? If you're saying that you don't think the churches are in cahoots, I've never heard of a woman begging for her life and getting drug out of a church and body slammed on concrete for trying to flee abuse.
I don't know what to say about that.
I think that's probably showing that someone is authentically doing. Yeah, I think that is evidence that someone is indeed controlling these churches I attend in malice, even though it doesn't sound realistic.
Okay.
Yes.
If it were me, all right, you cannot control other people's actions. Okay, you can only protect yourself and worry about yourself. Okay, like I said, I'm going to say it again. If someone calls and you don't recognize the number, don't answer the phone. If it's important, they'll leave you a message. Okay, if it's someone that you recognize, then call them back. Other than that, if you don't recognize the number, don't call it or don't answer it.
What if I have 3 devices that I can barely use? What about the Bible app hacking and multiple different apps and I can barely use my phone?
Okay.
and my 3 devices.
That, I believe that is probably has something to do with your network or with your spotty internet.
I've had it 10 years happening. For 10 years, I'm not able to tell you that I've had it 10 years, and then I had it at another location. Then you're forgetting that April said her device was hacked. She told you her device was hacked. She told the police. So I'm not quite certain on why people just deflect and aren't seeing that someone's hacking the device, even at my providers.
This is not deflecting. I'm trying to give you.
But I mean, April did communicate with you that someone was not only hacking my device and hers and multiple different other parties, and she communicated that with the police. She also communicated that we also communicated about the abuser and the police department covered for it. So I mean, I appreciate your input, but it's really not, going to correct the issue because someone is hacking my devices and my friends' devices. And acquaintances, people that I know.
You're not going to have your issues corrected, okay? It's the same thing over and over and over and over again, all right, happening with you. So all you can do is change your pattern, okay? You can't change other people's patterns, but you can change your own. That's what I'm telling you. By doing... block him, but when it comes to other random people,
I appreciate your input, but once again, you're not the only person that is not hearing me that is saying the same thing. How you can't block someone that is illegally hacking and monitoring someone's phone. There's nothing to have a hack. I think that I should address this because armies full of people keep telling me to do that, including at church. So she heard that he's threatening another arrest, and then I told her I'm fleeing the country, and then she said, "Did you block it?" So this is a repeated pattern, but I'm really not understanding how you can block someone from breaking into 3 devices at one time, robbing you of your ability to use your device
all right, let me give you an example, okay? My email address I have had for 30-some years, the same email address, okay? It doesn't matter. It's on all my devices.
I've changed my emails. I mean, that's not beneficial because I've changed my emails. I got locked out of 2 that I've had decades. I got locked out of several Facebook pages. And then my Facebook was glitching and I'd send out hundreds of friend requests and no one responded. And it was hacked and I was trapped in it and I couldn't meet new people and people would not believe my experiences. So I had to try to build up a paper trail because I know my experiences aren't realistic. So what you're saying is not helping. I think that the most thing that people are not willing to see is a man needs to be put under control for all his numerous felonies and crimes he repeatedly commits. But all my environments don't want him having accountability for all kind of countless felonies.
And just change your actions. Try that.
So, so if you saw a woman getting violated in a horror movie, okay, that someone was breaking into her house, doing all kind of different things, like you said you loved Lifetime, watching a woman get violated, kids taken away, and all kind of other felonies, identity theft, with churches controlled and armies full of people being controlled, what's your recommendation for someone getting violated like that to change their actions? If one of these Lifetime movies that you saw with a person from one of these Lifetime movies or horror movies, would you verbalize to someone that's getting violated like they do in the horror movies to change, as a solution, change your actions?
Look, I've lived it.
I'm just asking. So if you see one of the horror movies, with one of these... I
don't have to see it. I've lived it.
I'm just trying to... Okay, so...
I lived with it.
So your solution, if you're dealing with someone...
From my personal experience, okay?
Okay, let me put it this way. If you know a woman that her husband beats her, abuses her, and is abusive psychologically, What would your advice be to change your actions?
You block communication.
I'm just out of
in
curiosity.
every way possible.
If there's a woman
don't answer the phone unless you know who it is.
I'm just trying to see if there may be if there's a biasness that I'm not aware of. But if you see someone that is, you have a friendship and someone is getting beat up and bruised and violated by a person in their life, would your recommendation for her be to change your behavior?
Yes.
Okay. What my recommendation is, if someone is threatening your life and then disrespecting you and violating you, that's a toxic person, and you may not make the action that you want to take is try to get away from them. I don't think that a person should be subjected to being violated and someone repeatedly tells that party to change their behavior around being violated. First off, to send someone death threats and treat them like that is criminal, and it's criminal for a purpose. Typically, a woman that's getting violated is able to get law enforcement. Is not trapped in it. That's peculiar, and people aren't seem to be alarmed by me being denied law enforcement all over in my environments. That's peculiar. But I would not tell any woman that she deserves for someone that's out of control to stay out of control. And the best advice that I can give is to tell her to change the way that she sees her abuse. Every woman should have a right to flee abuse and not be trapped in it. And for some reason, people haven't realized that around
me. You've done that.
I'm still trapped in the abuse. I'm trapped in it.
You're an abuser. But what you're doing is whenever you get one of these horrible messages, you try to push back. And it continues. That cycle over and over and over again.
I think that it's kind of pointless because I'm reporting that all these people that you've witnessed phones are being hacked and that someone has taken my freedom 20 plus times and then potentially controlling churches to be toxic. I told you I got drug out of a church and then you just want me to block my number. You couldn't believe that someone would be able to be allowed to control churches and send police to churches to intimidate me. Then when I gave you evidence, your best solution is to block them and get mental health treatment. But this is how I've been treated years. Outside of the church member offering pads and tampons and hygiene products. She said, I worked at so-and-so. You did? Yes, I did. I can get you some pads and tampons.
I don't understand that. And I think there was a big disconnect there.
I think that I'm just trying to compile evidence that I don't think that there was a business understanding, some kind of way people aren't hearing me that I'm getting drug out of churches and have multiple false arrests and someone is abusing too much power. You just have to prove something like that repeatedly keeps happening. Because I'm fully aware that my story's not realistic. So you have to supply a lot of evidence that someone would be able to manipulate environments and enlist them in torment and mind games. That I think the woman offered me the pads as a mind game, as a tactic to disregard my value. And it's happened for years. And then people call and antagonize, like the lady that pretended like she wanted to help. Now she won't talk to me. She was supposed to be a good friend of mine. And then I told her that I think these people that pretend to be my friends are peculiar, and it seems like they're for cover up. And now she won't talk to me. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm telling you, she just, each time that she's saying something ridiculous, antagonizing me, like the lady that offered pads. If I'm telling you that someone is threatening to take my freedom and is taking my kids and everything I have, hacking my devices, and I'm trying to flee the country, and I can't get a support system, I pray that you have peace. Did you change your number? Did you change your number?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry that these have been your experiences.
And then we're not to mention I'm calling all over the United States to get denied assistance, housing all over the place, people retracting on services, being defrauded out of tax returns, all kind of other things that you can be defrauded out of. I'm just not quite certain how GovBin and going to Metro Care and all these armies full of locations to get mental health treatment is solving the problem and being violated and denied services everywhere. That's all these racked up felonies. I still can't see my kids.
It's going to help you with your stress.
I can't get mental health treatment. I'm not really being heard. I've already called them. They lied. Like they did at Medicos. I can't force the people to give me services, which is why I want to leave this country. They won't give me services anywhere. They're just hacking my device, monitoring it, knowing that people would never believe my story, and enticing all these people to deprive me of assistance and cover up for crimes. Hacking my devices, all kind of friends' devices, and enlisting people to cover for it, and then be condescending and play mind games.
I don't know anything about all of that.
Well, you did witness that April told you that her device was hacking, and then you know that the other gentleman's device was hacked, and he was mad at me saying that it had something to do with me. Then you said that it was April that did it, and not only did April tell you that it was me, I told you it was me, but you still tried to blame it on April. And we both told you that my device was being hacked, and she thought her device was being hacked because of me. Then not only did all those three parties two other parties
because
with that
you
scenario.
And I have no problem.
No, you keep sending me texts, and I keep telling you all the time I don't get your texts. You don't remember me telling you that?
Those texts are probably delayed because of where you're at.
You don't remember me telling you I didn't get your texts repeatedly over and over?
Oh, God.
You don't remember me telling you that?
Okay. I don't remember what now.
That you repeatedly told me that I repeatedly told you I'm not getting your text.
Okay, you always tell me. You get my text late.
No,
whatever.
I told you. You tell me, once again, you tell me that you send text.
You don't get my text.
Right, and then you have to call me.
That is a network. That's a network issue.
It's been happening years all over the place. Now, I told you repeatedly I was not getting your texts. I went to my provider to tell them that I wouldn't get armies full of other parties' texts and phone calls. So I'm not quite certain why people can't hear that I've experienced this for 10 years. I also expressed to you that April called me. I did not get her call, so she texted me. She was trying to tell me it was an emergency. So she had to text me because she knows that my phone is hacked to try to get me that way. So after she texted me, I realized what was going on. I still couldn't get her call, so I called her.
Okay.
I just don't understand why it's impossible for all these people to see that. You never heard of hacking a device? You didn't know that existed?
Of course I did.
Why does everyone know it's not happening to me, but devices can be hacked?
Okay. All right. Even if somebody was hacking my device, all right, and I had already gotten a new phone, changed my number, blocked them in any way possible, and it still continues, then I would go to what I do myself, in that if you don't recognize the number, don't take the call.
But I have crimes being committed to keep me away from kids. I'm in a domestic violence crisis. I'm trying to flee. I have all kind of different things going on that's critical. Yeah. So I'm trying to get a job, and I'm trying to get all kind of different programs, and a lot of that I don't know if it's authentic, but a lot of these people are claiming that they have to call me from blocked numbers. So I could be talking to scammers because they all want to call me from blocked numbers to handle business, so that would make it difficult.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Kay.
Well, thank you for your input, for trying. But yeah, I know that you made those calls, but I was on the phone with the police department and trying to handle business. So that's what I just for 10 years haven't really had anything done. And I'm tired of living this way, being in a country that's depriving me of a law enforcement for profit and just can't stop it, digging into my personal business, causing mayhem, and I'm just trapped in it. You'd have to prove something like that. I know my stories are like a Lifetime movie and not realistic. But I mean, going place to place to place for the same pattern, and then everybody's idea is to get tampons, pads, and get mental health treatment to get nowhere. We're not combating the problem. It's the police department taking bribes from my abuser to lead me into my abuse. And if someone is causing all this damage, I think that's a red flag that maybe they have a problem that needs to be addressed. That's not normal behavior to want to manipulate every environment someone enters. That's not rational thinking. No, I don't think a rational party would try to influence someone's family to conspire with psychological abuse and torment.
No, and has your family members, have they told you that he's approached them?
One of them did and then got placed in a nursing home. Yes, one did. She got put out of her own house. She let me live there, and some people would torture her in her own environment. And she behaved really peculiar. I didn't know that someone could do this much damage. It don't dawn on you that someone, but nonetheless, after she said, yes, we do know him. Then the people that stayed there, they had some kind of scam that she couldn't live there alone. So that the scam was the state called the state on her and demanded these terrible people live in her home. My aunt was a Christian and very particular. So these were like drug addicts that people were fresh out of jail, and they were like bullying my aunt on her own house. Who is it? Oh, I'm not dressed. I'm on an important phone call. Oh, okay. I thought I would expect you at another time. No, you said 4. Oh, it's 3. Yes. Sorry. Okay, then carry on. Oh, okay. It's bizarre. I'm having problems with the AC, and someone was trying to help me over with that. So nonetheless, so my aunt had these people that behaved bizarre, that were controlling her in her own house, but the state told her that she needed someone to live with her, and she appeared to be afraid of these people, and that's not her personality type to let these people stay there. So nonetheless, she told me at one time that, she kept asking these people if they paid the bill. They drove around her car, and I don't know why she would give them access to her funds, but she was elderly. So they weren't paying the bills, so the lights got cut off. So they said, we're going to send you to this nursing home just till the lights get cut back on. They were driving around in her Mercedes, coming all hours of the night, starting fights. So my aunt, I left with a family member for an event. And these people would leave at like 8 or 9 and come back the next day in her car and get drunk and high in her home. So I left with a family member and came back at about 10 or 11, and the family member hit on me. And I was like, no, I just want you to be my family member. So nonetheless, I get back to my aunt, and she's trying to fight me, acting like an enraged, jealous person. And I said, what is wrong with you? Why are you trying to fight me? And she said that, you're out too late. I said, these people live with you and they don't come back till the next day in your car. I was at a church, family function. I was at a family situation. And she started putting her hands on me, trying to fight me and get aggressive. My son behaved peculiar like that. And some of these people would be in tears behaving bizarre like this. And I said, why are you doing that? I'm sorry?
Did she have dementia?
They're acting like they're mentally ill, but I think someone's putting these people up to behaving this way because they would be in tears, and it's too many family members behaving like this. So then one day she got my aunt is very headstrong. She's not a pushover. Don't get it misunderstood. And for her to let someone that she's scared of live with her is very out of character. So I witnessed like she would get like 30 something plus phone calls a day. And she had this behavior for years. She had a lot of friendships. She started avoiding people and acting peculiar. And people would come and say, what is wrong with you? And she just, all these personalities were just bizarre. So nonetheless, she started avoiding people and behaving very bizarre. So nonetheless, she put her hand on me. And then, other people were saying that she was behaving strange. So she eventually said that, we are being controlled by him. And then she said that my kids came up when I was begging them to get me out of jail on the false charges. They came up there to get certain items when they put me out of the house that I lived in. They didn't tell me that they lied because they could have bonded me out of jail with my own funds. My kids lied to me about that situation and went through my items after it got put out and would not get me out of jail with my own money on false charges. I told them that I was getting threatened multiple times by inmates. And their biggest suggestion was to go up there and get things out of that. They said that they couldn't come up there to bail me out of jail on these false charges. So yes, my aunt told me that she was being controlled. She eventually got put out of her own place and sent to a nursing home. They won't tell me what's going on with her.
Hey,
I'm sorry?
Sounds to me like she developed dementia, because that's what happens to older people.
So what about my sister behaving odd? What about my sister behaving odd and then blatantly lying on me and my kids?
Okay,
and then crying. What about my son saying that the police was terrorizing him and got tickets, and then this company he worked for, Ameritube, wouldn't give him his check? And I didn't believe that the police was tormenting him and violating him. I never heard of that. But he said the police department was violating him. And then
that very well could be that.
What about the other son's hit and run? And then my daughter telling me that she was getting mistreated at school. Then my aunt saying that he is controlling us.
Those things are related.
I'm sorry? What were you saying?
It doesn't sound to me like those incidents are related incidents.
Oh, so my son getting hit with a car and then covering for it in the police department. My middle son. Then my oldest son saying that the police is harassing me and got tickets, and then his Ameritube wouldn't give him his check. Then when he got the check finally deposited in an account, the bank would not deposit the check, post the check in Walmart in Hillsboro. So first his employer played games with giving him his check. Then he helped the family with his check. We were running out of gas. Then we went to Walmart in Hillsboro to deposit the check. Then they wouldn't post the check to his account. So he went through that ordeal. So then we have the middle son that got hit with the car. He and the police department covered for it. We have my 8-year-old. The teachers felt her out of malice and tormented her, kept her after school without letting me know, felt her in malice, had her wet herself, wouldn't let her use the bathroom, lied on me
oh my God.
With CPS. Yes. My aunt saying that we are being controlled. My sister crying, setting me up with the police on blatant lies. My son crying another time, my oldest son, he's mad now, blatantly lying on me, 2 children. A third child can't talk to me.
Coming from the same police department?
No, it's multiple different police departments. The third child was, my youngest child was crying and having a meltdown. Then her stepmom said she was going to give her away to CPS for displaying pain and suffering for what our family has been through. So now she gets punished if she shows love and pain from missing me and not having access to me in corruption. But my aunt said, yes, he is contacting us, and yes, we know him, and got put out of her own house, and I haven't seen her since. They won't tell me what's going on with her. They say she's in a nursing home, don't want me to know where it is. I went over her house spur of the moment. Those strange people were still living in her house and driving around her car, going through her items. They knew she wasn't coming back.
I have no doubt. Yeah, she took in boarders, and they just it sounds like they totally took advantage.
No, I think that those people were deliberate people to control the environment. I think that there was a scam, that knowing that it wasn't realistic, a scam to force those people to live in that environment, to control her and scare her, to keep her away from me. Because my family, I've had a history of being a certain way with my family. I take care of people and people like me to be around them. So you would have to do something pretty intense that caused my family to treat me the way that they have. I'm the one that people go to when they need support or something's going on. They always think that I have money. I have a kind heart. So I know for a fact for my family's behavior that there's something is amiss with it. For my family to treat me the way that they're treating me. And it would have to involve cars coming at someone and something serious to get them to disown me and have me estranged from my children and my family the way that I am. And I'm just trying to expose that that's what's going on. I know it's hard to prove that someone is indeed causing a whole bunch of relationships to like clouding up the water and making them toxic.
Okay, it sounds like you've been fighting this a long time. You've tried a variety of avenues, and nothing's working. So, if it were me, I would just strengthen your life right now. And as hard as it is, because I know these are your loved ones, but right now, just focus on you and focus on your best mental health, because this kind of constant stress and upset is not good for your mental health. And that's why it's important to go to counseling when you're undergoing trauma or have undergone
But I
trauma.
don't have the rights to trauma.
And,
I mean, I don't have the rights. You're demanding something from me that I can't get. I've tried. And I just don't understand why all my relationships want me to get mental health treatment. I think that's abusive.
I will help you when I move out there, if you want me to. I will help you.
I've already told you they denied assistance. I mean, you can try, but they've already denied assistance. I'm going to have to get off the phone. I just find it agitating. And then plus someone came over here at a time that they shouldn't have. But we had an appointment, and then I get a lot of interruptions. So I'm going to have to get off the phone in a minute. But I find it frustrating to be offered pads, mental health treatment, and those are my only options for someone being able to violate me. Those are the only options I have. Pads, mental health treatment. Do you want those options?
No, I want to see you happy and
well, I've been trying to get mental health treatment 10 years and can't properly get it. So good luck with trying to get that.
Well, I was pretty successful getting Richie and Norma into counseling. So
they're not a targeted government witness, though? They're not a government witness in armies full of people in cahoots with their abuse? And I'm just not really being heard that I've already sought out therapy from them, as well as an army full of other locations. And the police department has came to demand discharge at hospital stays.
They are a couple of ex-felons.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and get off the phone. Let me go ahead before she comes back. I just don't really think that I'm being heard ears. That someone is violating me. No environment can hear it. It's bizarre. Okay, but let me go ahead before she comes back. I don't know what's happening, but I keep having dead bugs all over the place.
Ugh. Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.